Alrighty, and we are live. And let me just double check some settings, make sure everything looks good. We are looking good. Definitely going to be redoing my lighting setup. Bear with me on that. Alrighty. Hello, Barku. Hey. Hello, and welcome. Happy Saturday, you guys. Perfect time for a Q&A. Thank you so much for joining me. Hello, Rosie. Oh, you're sweet. Thank you. Hello. Hi, guys. Yay. So I know that this one was a little bit last minute. Typically, I'm going to be doing my live Q&As from here on out. It's going to be on Sundays, but tomorrow I'm going to be on an airplane all day. So at the last minute, I had to switch it to today. So hopefully enough people got the memo, but sometimes it's, a little spontaneous. Hello, Tammy. Hello, Natalia. Hi, Mike. Michael. Welcome. I could really use a 3D pep talk. I know how that goes. Yeah, we can do that. Hey, Symptoms. Hello. Hi, Rini? Is it Rini, Rainy? Rini, I'm assuming. I apologize if I butcher your name, or anybody for that matter. Courtney, hi. Oh my gosh. Courtney, thank you so much for the beautiful gift. Oh, you are so sweet. Thank you. Oh, thank you. I love it. I've already written, I've already used up 10, 20 pages in there. It's great. John, hello. Thank you for making it. Don't worry, guys. We will be diving into the Q&A in just a moment. I want to give it another 30 seconds or so to let people trickle in. Like I said, I know that this one was a little bit last minute, so not entirely sure how many people will be here today. That's fine, but I want to give just a second longer so people can continue to come on in and join us. We will get started here in just a moment. I hope you guys are having a really awesome day. I hope it is a really, really good start to your weekend. I hope the weather is beautiful where you are. It is raining like crazy. It has been nonstop rain since moving to California. But I guess this place has needed it. Oh, third-party pep talk. Okay, yeah, we can, well, I'm not supposed to talk about that stuff, but yes, I understand what you mean. Awesome, you guys. I've already got a few questions trickling in, which is great. Alrighty. Let's check something else really quick. Da-da-da. All right. Yeah, looks like we are in good shape. All right, let's get started. Let's dive in. Really quick before we do, a couple quick announcements. I got a ton of resources, as always, down in the description box. My coaching program, Mindset Mastery Program, is starting on January 23rd. Registration is open right now. It is a 12-week program. I go into everything that I've learned, the most extensive programs. This is the product of almost 2 years of just putting this thing together. It's an incredible time. Everyone that I've worked with in there has had phenomenal results. Information's down in the description box. You want to register. That will be getting started here soon. So I hope to see you guys there. But aside from all that, let's go ahead and dive into some Q&As. All right. And as always, I'm going to try to get to as many questions as I can. If I miss yours, if I don't have enough time to get to it, or anything happens, I deeply apologize in advance. Bear with me. And ooh, really good question. Hi, Missy. Can you talk about surrendering to our manifestation and how not to hold our desire on a pedestal while manifesting? Yeah. So I guess surrendering is, you know, it's another term for detachment. When somebody talks about surrender or letting go, it's essentially talking about detachment. And detachment is a really important part of this whole concept and on this journey. Um, I would argue it's a fundamental part of this process. But that doesn't mean that you need to get to a place where you give up on your desire or that you have to detach from the desire itself. It essentially just means that you're detaching from that old state of consciousness. And that's the entire point. You want to detach from that old state so that you can then attach to that new desired state. And I guess how we do that, how we get there is through persistence with the imaginal acts, persistence in living in the wish fulfilled, imagining yourself as the version of you that has everything you desire, and persistence with that until it begins to resonate with you, until it begins to sort of take over as that internal shift. So that's kind of where the confusion comes in between persistence and detachment. We persist with the imaginal acts until we naturally get to a place where we detach from that old state of consciousness. Again, not that you're trying to detach from the desire itself, and it's not something that we can do by force or by consciously trying to do it. And that's another important point. But yeah, surrender, letting go, those are all terms talking about detachment. I feel like my low energy restricts me from embodying the state of the wish fulfilled. Have you experienced this? What do you do if it lasts a while? That is a really interesting question, symptoms. If you could describe to me a little bit more about what you mean by low energy, is that you feel too tired or exhausted to do your imaginal acts or to really, you know, continue to move there, or just lacking the motivation to persist in that? If that's what you mean, then absolutely, I've experienced that. Um, Especially if there's a particularly lot going on in the 3D, if we feel overworked, if there's a particularly high levels of stress. Yeah, all of these things can absolutely have an effect. Um, and if that is in fact what you are talking about, I guess the best way that you can deal with that, so to speak, is actually kind of counterintuitive, because it's not that we want to try to, like, again, it's not that we want to like force ourselves or try to push ourselves harder to get there, or to, you know, try to make ourselves like move into that state of the wish fulfilled. This is not something that you're going to easily achieve through force. So if you're too tired, honestly, the best thing that you can do in that moment is rest. Rest as much as you need, as until you begin to feel more, like your normal self, or feel more, I guess, more energized. Or that's not even the right word, but if you are feeling particularly bogged down, take care of you first and foremost. And then when you are then in a place where you do feel better and you are feeling, I guess, back to normal, so to speak, then you can go ahead and continue with the imaginal acts. So I hope that answers. I hope I understood correctly. If I totally missed the point here, let me know. Ideas on how to manifest and understanding what exact blocks are causing negative sensations. That is actually a really good question. So, how to understand what exactly is causing negative sensation, and by that I'm assuming like the physical sensations, right? Like anxiety, heart racing, that sort of uncomfortable sensation that comes with fear and doubt. Um, Understanding what exactly causes that, um, well, it's fear and doubt. That's at the root of what's going on there. But if you're looking for what specifically is blocking you, and I'm not a big fan of that term because that implies that we're stuck and unable to move. But I guess the best way to find anything that is, feels like it might be holding you back or making you anxious in any particular situation is observation. Just careful observation. And really getting to the practice of noticing what you are entertaining at any given time. And particularly if something is feeling uneasy, just asking yourself, where is this stemming from? What is going on here? And the reason I mean, there's many reasons we practice observation, but one of them is to start becoming more objective as to what's going on within you. So right now, or before coming into the law, most of us have been really attached to our ego. Most of us are really attached to these ideas and conceptions of us and our circumstance. And so it feels like that's who we really are. And it feels like that is, like what is a problem and why we feel sometimes hopeless and like we can't overcome anything. It's all ego, but you know, as we become more objective, as we begin to really practice that observation, we start to come at this not so attached to it. Oh, I accidentally hit my microphone. But really through the observation, you can start just seeing what's happening as the observer without reaction, without attachment. And that's sort of an aim or what we ideally want to strengthen. So really the best way to see what is blocking you, quote unquote. And again, there's no such thing as blocks. There's limiting assumptions, which are things that are in contrast to what you desire. But the best way to find what those are is absolutely observation. Hi, Missy. How do you suggest manifesting contact with SP if it's been a while? Should we reach out? Thank you. Good question. And I think this is one that people wonder about all the time. There's a lot of conflicting answers to this question. A lot of people will say, absolutely, do not ever reach out, no matter what. But I don't really fall into that camp. Because again, you're God. Why can't you do something? It really depends on where you are. It really depends on where is it, like if you have a urge or if you find yourself like inspired to do something, if you're feeling the urge to reach out to them, like where is that stemming from though? If is it stemming from a place of anxiety? Is it stemming from a place of I need to see what's going on? Like the radio silence is having me feeling really scared. Because if it's that, I may not be the best particular course of action. Um, but if it's genuinely coming from a place of, this feels like the right thing to do, and there's no fear or anxiousness attached to that, then I mean, absolutely you can. You don't have to, but you can, no harm, no foul. But this is where we need to be very honest with ourselves and, like pay attention to how we feel and note where that urge is coming from. If it's coming from a place of anxiety and like I need to like calm my nerves and hear like go know what's going on here, may not be the best time to do that. Yeah. Why are there some manifestations for which the law of expectancy doesn't seem to work? Is it conflicting belief? Good question. So, why is it that, some things don't manifest when we feel like they absolutely will or they should? And everybody's experienced this at some point or another. You feel very confident that something's going to happen, and maybe it doesn't happen, or vice versa. And I actually made a video about this. It's been a while, but I have talked about this exact thing, and ultimately, it is a conflicting belief. Yeah, if at any time, if we feel certain that something is going to happen, or we're confident that this is going to play out a certain way and it doesn't, that is typically stemming from a deeper, more conflicting core belief, basically. So anytime those situations occur, I mean, it's easy to feel discouraged or upset, but we can actually take the opportunity to look at it as, you know feedback. Like, okay, what is this telling me? I had such strong, hopes, or I felt very strongly that this was going to occur and it didn't. Why is that? And really take the chance to reflect on what may be at the core of that there. I hope that makes sense. But yes, it's confliction. Worlds within worlds. Do I just assume the state of already being there? How long does it take for you to actually get there? That's a good question. So, worlds within worlds. Most people in this chat probably understand what that is, but essentially, that is moving to another state that's very different from the one that you are in currently. Some people also call it quantum leaping, quantum jumping, things like that. And essentially, yes, you assume the state of already being there. Neville would call it, what Neville would instruct people to do is to make there here and make then now. So it is about sort of collapsing time in that sense. You are going to that place, to that state, as if it were here and now, not like thinking about something like it's going to happen in the future. But yeah, you assume the state of already being there. And how long does it take? I mean, that is going to be different for everyone. That's going to be wildly different. And that one's a bit more challenging to tell you, but yeah, the more that you practice, just like with anything else, the more that you practice assuming that state, the better and better that you're going to get. What I would absolutely recommend, if you are interested in quantum leaping, I mean, first off, check out the videos I made about them, but also get really familiar with the I am state. And you can do that through practice the I am meditation, which I am coming out with that meditation soon. I promise. That is coming very soon. I'm trying to get SP to commit. I slept with him on Thursday. I feel like I'm sabotaging. I'm sorry to hear that that's a feeling that you've been struggling with. And I guess my first question might, I'd answer that question with a question, or ask, what exactly makes you feel like you're sabotaging? Is it because the two of you connected, the two of you had sex, basically? Is that what's feeling it? And if that were the case, I would say, that act alone wouldn't automatically mean that it would sabotage anything. Basically, that's stemming from a belief. If it feels like you're sabotaging something, why? Ask yourself, why do I feel like I'm sabotaging this? Because I slept with this person? Well, what exactly does that have to make here? And you'll find that if you really do some undigging there, and asking, why does this feeling come up? Why do I feel like I sabotaged everything? It's stemming from a belief, and that belief might be that, if I give them what they want, then they're not going to want to commit to me. Again, this is purely an example. It could be something different for you, but if that's the belief, or it's something, along those lines, you can then become aware of what is happening and why you're feeling the way that you're feeling, and essentially course correct, because, again, the circumstances never matter. It truly never matters. It is what we are feeling and what we are assuming and what we are entertaining that matters. So we course correct away from that and say, no, it doesn't matter. Like, absolutely, SB is committing to me. Like, this is a done deal. I'm having anxiety issues. Oh, I'm having anxiety issues. Will this hinder my manifesting? Oh, I'm sorry. Anxiety is one of the worst things ever. Feels like a freaking curse sometimes. I used to have crippling anxiety. I mean, a few years ago, I would never have been able to do anything like this, like come onto a live stream or sit in front of a camera and make videos. Like, yeah, debilitating. So I get it. I will say that anxiety issues in and of themselves is not going to make or break your manifestation, believe it or not. It also really depends on where the anxiety is stemming from. Is it anxiety about what you were trying to manifest, or is it anxiety in general? Is it more of a general thing that that you've been struggling with? Because it's important to note that we don't always have to be like positive and perfect for this to work. And I really cannot stress that enough. And I really am going to like break the hell out of that mold for everybody. Like, there's a lot of toxic positivity in this community, unfortunately, and a lot of the belief that we need to be happy and perfect and positive, or this is never going to work. And that's horseshit. Excuse my French. That's not true. There are moments where, there are many people who deal with anxiety or even depression, and they still manifest what they want. They still live the life of their dreams. That has nothing to do with it, right? Now, if the anxiety is stemming around something specific to your situation that you're trying to manifest, that's where we go in with the imaginal acts. And that's where we go in with really just trying to take care of ourselves to the best of our ability in our day-to-day, but not feel like we also have to be perfect at this. Because in this human form, we're not perfect. And that's the point. So, no, anxiety in and of itself is not going to ruin your manifestation. If you are feeling, anxious about something specific you're trying to do, take care of yourself first and foremost, right? Practice some breathing exercises, practice, doing things that help you, doing things that help you to feel a little bit better. And, above all else, we got to put ourselves first and take care of ourselves. Oh, sorry, guys, the chat keeps moving around on me. How would you recommend going about manifesting something by a particular date? For example, I would love to be able to spend Valentine's Day with my SP, but we are in no contact. Really good question. So I have made a video about manifesting on a deadline or by a certain date. If you hit the search bar on my channel, it should pop up. But basically, is it possible to manifest by a specific date? Yes, of course. And I guess the best way that I would go about that is, imagine what I would be doing on Valentine's Day. Like, what is the ideal scenario that I want to have play out by Valentine's Day? Is that, my SP is coming over with flowers and chocolates. Is that a nice dinner later that evening? And we wish each other happy Valentine's Day. Um, you know, imagine something along those lines and get clear about what you want that to look like and clear that it's for this Valentine's Day. Um, and then persist with that, and if and when your mind tries to take you somewhere else, if you start feeling like intrusive thoughts coming in, redirect, don't accept them, reject them. But I will say that, if you start noticing yourself getting like particularly anxious as the days get closer, um, y- take care of yourself above all else, right? If that's kind of the double-edged sword here. If it feels like the 3D and all of these things can really move you, if it feels like the anxiety may be get getting worse and worse as the days get closer, that's where the challenge comes in. Maintaining that faith that this will in fact play out, so long as I persist in that assumption. Um, but again, is it possible? Yeah, and you absolutely could. I would imagine, based on what you want to experience that day, and then drop it, go about your day, go about the rest of your life. And if anything intrusive comes up or opposite of that, reject it. Reject it. I thought I was doing good on my mental diet, but a closer look revealed the negative story with SP still running on autopilot. How can I stop those thoughts that I'm not aware of? Fantastic question. And this is my entire point and why I bang on and on and on and on about observation and the importance of observation. For this reason, like, we may think that we're doing great, but upon closer observation, there may still be a story that we've been running on autopilot, because most of the time we're just on autopilot. That's how we function. So, and it's this for this reason, we want to be aware of what is actually happening, what we're actually entertaining, so that, we're not sitting there wondering what the hell's going on and why is this not working, why is this not happening, etc. So if you become aware of a story that is not ideal, that's when you can go into, rejecting that story, reminding yourself that that is just the old story, that is the old state, and that you are no longer occupying that state. Like, flat out rejection, you don't accept it, and continue to go about your day. I would, really focus on the imaginal acts. I would really get myself into that state of the wish fulfilled to the best of your ability, to the best that you're able. Saturate your mind with what that would be like, that perfect desired state. It's the more that you do that, the more that it's going to become more the default instead of that old story running on autopilot. Oh, thank you, Fugu. That is so sweet. Hi, Missy. I was able to manifest a change in my appearance after watching your videos. Oh my gosh. Chichan, that's awesome. Holy crap, congratulations. That's amazing. I love it. A friend of mine has cancer. I'm so sorry to hear that. When you revise for somebody else for their health or prosperity, are you affecting their free will? No. No, not at all. Free will is a concept that is not real. We have the illusion of free will when it comes to other people, and kind of sometimes with ourselves as well. But when it comes to other people in your world, um, no, you absolutely can and should imagine for others, to help them, whether it's health, whether it's prosperity, whatever it might be. Absolutely, absolutely you should. Yeah, and I've made a lot of videos kind of talking about the whole idea of free will, so, if you're curious to check out more about that, yeah, hit the search bar on my, channel page. Thank you, guys. Oh my god, you're so sweet. I'm gonna blush. Hi, Missy. Going on what somebody else already asked, do we just use Neville's techniques for worlds within worlds? If we don't want to use lucid dreaming, can we just use SATs and live in the end state? I mean, absolutely. Absolutely could. Well, so moving into a whole nother world entirely typically comes about through lucid dreaming. That's been my experience, and from what Neville described, that was his experience too. In the dream that you are aware that you're dreaming, you then wake yourself up, but not in this reality, but in the one that you're in, that other reality or that other world, so to speak. Can you get there through SATs and living in the end state? I mean, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, you could. Um, SATs is another way of setting the impression or intention. So I would still absolutely recommend practicing the I am meditation or something to help you get to that I am state, um, that state of unconditioned awareness, right? From there, it is going to be so much easier to attach yourself to another state, another world, another whatever that looks like. So yeah. What was the fastest thing you manifested from setting the intention? What was the fastest you manifested something from setting the intention? What was the thing and how did it come about? That's a good question. I have many, 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 many times manifested something near instantaneously. That's happened quite a bit, whether that be a phone call, if I needed a situation sorted, it would like I would get a call from somebody and it would get sorted, to if I lost my keys or something, I would set the intention and find it somewhere like on the counter, something totally obvious, where I had looked several times before. I mean, yes. What was the fastest thing? Most of the time it's quote unquote littler things like that. Though I have had many instances where things have been able to turn around. Like somebody called me with a problem, revised it, and they called back maybe minutes or an hour later saying said problem was. I mean, this has happened. I've lost count how many times. I have lost count. Missy, what if SB tells me that he is waiting on me or that SP is waiting on me to initiate? What might be the underlying belief in me that is manifesting this? Good question. I mean, well, if that is what he's telling you, I mean, that's some pretty strong feedback. I mean, fortunately, like, silver lining would be, that's pretty it's pretty distinct. It could be something along the lines of, you know, "Men don't reach out first," or, "Other people don't reach out. I always have to initiate, I always have to chase, blah, blah, blah." So, could be something along those lines, but I mean, I couldn't tell you exactly what that is. That is something that, I would do some careful observation and, internalizing to see what that is and where it's stemming from. But if I had to guess based on that circumstance, might be something along those lines. Missy, my SP was chatting nonstop the whole day and night the other day. I took it as movement after no contact, but now nothing. What should I do? Well, don't accept that it's, stopped or fallen off a cliff. Don't accept the unwanted circumstance. Don't accept that we have a tendency of like creating these doomsday scenarios in our mind, but it's important to realize that those are just stories. It's all just a story that we're telling ourselves. I mean, for example, if there's, contact and then they go quiet for a little bit, we immediately go into, "Oh my god, you know, what if they're not interested anymore? What if they found somebody else? What if they this? What if they that?" And none of that has to be the case ever. And in fact, most times it's not the case. Most times it's that they got caught up in work or something came up. And do just that, accept that everything is fine and everything is going to continue to unfold and that momentum is picking up faster and faster. Do not accept what you do not want. Do not entertain what you do not want. And and you will see without any shadow of doubt that you persist in what is wanted versus what you don't want, that communication will pick back up again. Circumstances don't ever matter. What is the best way to enter the I am state? Sometimes I try for hours and I still can't get into it. Really, really, really good question. Because this one is a bit counterintuitive. When I first did the I am meditation, the first several times, admittedly, I was not able to reach that place or get into that place either. And what I realized was that I was trying. I was trying to like get to something or get. I had an agenda going into the meditation, and the whole point of the I am meditation is to just be. Like you're just focusing on the sense of being. Like there's nothing else. Like you drop all notions, you drop everything else, like all of the the 3D world things or what have you, drop all of that. It's just becoming more aware of your own awareness and just focusing on being, that sense of being. And then when you least expect it, you will drop off and expand. That will happen. You are so welcome. I keep losing my spot, you guys. I'm so sorry. Any tips for first person visualization? I still have trouble with it, but I use things like eye contact and hyperfocusing, which helps some. Yeah, first person visualization is admittedly can be tricky. Admittedly so. Not tricky, that's not the right word. It's not familiar for most people. Most people are used to imagining or visualizing in the third person. So just like with anything else, it's practice. One exercise that is really popular in the community is to look at your hands and then like just take a good look at your hands and connect it to your arms and your body, and then close your eyes and replicate that and continue to just do that, right? And then see yourself maybe grabbing something off of a table and like start something slow like that, or bending down to tie your shoe, put on a sock, something like, I know it sounds tedious and a little boring, but this will absolutely begin to strengthen that muscle. Yeah, starting off with things that are simple and slow and that we've seen bazillions of times is going to come more naturally to us than, you know, trying to force yourself into a first person scene that we may have never experienced before. If reality shifting is possible, would it be possible to script a totally new reality with new appearance, financial life, house, family, and more, and simply wake up in it? Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. Absolutely. Yes. Because that is a state that already exists. If all of creation is finished, then anything that you can imagine, anything that you can conceive, it's a real state that you can experience. So, short answer is yes. I love all the shifters here. Me too. This is cool. I was thinking this week about a famous man in my city, and today I saw him for the first time in a supermarket. Is that a coincidence? No, it is not. That was a manifestation. There is no such thing as coincidence. Fresh out of Fox Forever. I love your name. What's the best thing to do when you just know it's done and waiting on 3D to catch up? Just keep persisting, and if so, how do you not feel like you're obsessing? So, um, keep persisting. Well, if the feeling is it's done, there's nothing left that I need to do. It's in the bag. If that's the feeling, that if you're essentially in the Sabbath, then there really is nothing like consciously speaking, like to take action wise. There's nothing left to do except maintain that. You know, persist with the knowing that it's done. If you at any time catch yourself falling out of that, if you catch yourself, you know, starting to have intrusive thoughts or reactions, anything like that, then yeah, we want to course correct. We want to move ourselves back into that state through our imaginal acts. But I mean, otherwise, if you were, you know, just kind of going about your day to day, knowing it's done, it's done. There's nothing left to do. How do you not feel like you're obsessing? I guess I'm a little bit confused by what you mean by that, Robin. Do you are you talking about like the need or the urge to like do the imaginal acts over and over after the fact? Yeah, we don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. I mean, if you're imagining the desired and if you're imagining your wish fulfilled because it feels good, it feels nice, and I enjoy it, that's one thing. But if you're doing it because of the fear of not getting it or that you need to do it more to get it, that's not necessary. I hope that makes sense. And if I missed something, let me know. I want to experience the I am state, but nothing has worked. I've meditated for hours before. Yeah, yeah, a lot of people have had that frustration of not being able to experience that I am state. And for me personally, and from what I've talked to with other people, the biggest reason I found that we have trouble entering that state is because again, like we're trying too hard to get there. Like we're trying to focus on like getting to that place. But it's very much the opposite approach. It's like the less you try to do, the more that you try to like just take your hands off and let Jesus take the wheel, so to speak. That's when it happens. It typically happens when you least expect it to. Like kind of just laying there, just being, vibing, and then it happens. But if you are noticing yourself feeling like anxious or like I need to get there, I need to get there, anything like that, that's typically the holdup. Missy, why do some people fear illness and death of their loved ones, but that never manifests, while other people have no such fears and they do manifest these states? So why do some people that fear illness and death of their loved ones don't manifest that, while other people who don't have that? So good question, and that comes down to, again, in part, it's kind of what I mentioned earlier about the conflictions, right? So if we have a conviction or if we have a belief that something, if we feel like something's going to happen and it doesn't, it is responsible for it. The culprit is a deeper underlying belief, a deeper core belief, right? And definitely check out the video that I made. But as far as death and other people who pass away, well, that's a whole nother topic that it needs a whole video in and of itself. Actually, an entire series, which yes, I am still working on that series because it's a lot. Basically, that is awareness that determines that. That is, God, our higher self, that sets the determination of that. So, yeah, I will have that series out soon. I am almost done. But yeah, I came out to like 2 hours worth of filming, so I had to break that up. What is the explanation behind some people genuinely believing something, but it not showing in reality? Like some people believing they are a certain height or charismatic, etc. So again, that goes back to if there's something that we feel is going to happen, but it doesn't happen, there is a deeper, more core belief there. And it could be that the core belief is like, I never get what I want. I never, see what, like, I never get mine. I never see what I want happen. Something along those lines. But there is a deeper conviction there. What was the other part of the question? Like some people believing they are a certain height or charismatic. I'm a little bit confused as to that part of the question sometimes. I'm sorry. But yeah, everybody should definitely check out that video if you haven't seen. I mean, I made it a long time ago, so there might be quite a few people here that haven't seen that video. I will go ahead and link it to the description box after this chat. Hi, Misty. What do I do when I feel like there's absolutely no movement and want to give up? I am affirming more self-concept than SP. Oh, I think everybody has been there at one point or another. And really, if the frustration is, if it feels like it's getting unbearable, if it feels like it's really taking a toll on your mental health or just your day-to-day life, I would honestly recommend sort of taking a break and clearing your head for a moment and really kind of taking the focus off of manifesting and focusing on you and helping you get to a place where you feel better. Because it's not doing us any good if we are constantly in a state of where is it? That's certainly not going to make it come any faster. So if we need to take a quick time out to regroup ourselves and just, get right for a minute, there's nothing wrong with doing that. In fact, I'd say it's better to do that than to continue to try to push ourselves in circles with, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I've heard you mention dropping it after intending, but then also saturating your mind with the wish fulfilled repeatedly. Can you talk about this more? Yes, because I understand that it sounds like a complete contradiction. Um, Setting an intention and dropping it versus the saturation of it repeatedly. And that really depends on the degree of disbelief or if it feels like it's very challenging to accept this wish fulfilled idea, if what you desire feels very far from you, if it feels like there's a lot of resistance, that's where through imagination and saturation of the mind with this new state is how we begin to release all of that. That's how we begin to see all that dissipate. Because it's through subconscious impression that we manifest. But for other things, we can set an intention and drop it. If there's no confliction to it, if we're not having intrusive thoughts against it, if you feel like you have solid faith in the law and your ability to manifest, you can absolutely set it and forget it. You can do that. But if that feels too challenging to do, if that does not feel like something that comes easily to you, then we imagine and we persist in imagining until we naturally can get to that place where we detach or drop it. Hope that makes a little bit more sense. I understand that sounds like two polar opposite things. Oh, good point, Robin. I got to read this. Thank you. That's exactly what I feel like I'm doing. I just know it's done, but I hear keep persisting until it hardens into fact. And I was thinking that meant until it is 3D, not when it is a true subconscious belief. Yeah, so the persistence is until it feels done. Even if it's not in the 3D just yet, if it feels like it's done, you can go ahead and drop it. It's not that you have to keep forcing yourself to, try to impress something that's already impressed. That don't make no sense. But yes, really good point. Yes. Get familiar with the I am state, um, and lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming, the hypnagogic states for reality shifting, some people call them the quote more, I don't want to call them more advanced, that's stupid. But yes, for reality shifting, getting familiar with the I am state and getting familiar with that hypnagogic / lucid dreaming is going to be very helpful. How do we change those core beliefs? Imagination. Saturating the imagination. The subconscious mind can't tell the difference between an imaginal act and something that happened in the 3D. So if you experience something enough that is contrary to this limiting belief, you're going to start to accept the new desired belief. Like, so if you've been insecure your whole life and there's a whole lot of limiting belief around that, but you imagine and saturate your mind with being, outgoing, confident, charismatic, things like that, you're going to become just that, because that is going to be the subconscious impression. It's going to take that as, okay, this is the experience that we're having. Hope that makes sense. Should I be taking steps towards achieving my goals in addition to visualization and imaginal acts, or do I believe Neville Goddard when he says it is done, do nothing? So when you like through visualizing, through these techniques, the whole purpose of the techniques is to tap into that feeling of it. That is what moves you into that state. That is what moves you into that state. So what you're going to notice happen is things are going to show up and you're going to be naturally moved to that goal. You're not going to need to do it by force. It's going to seem to come very, very naturally. In a lot of cases, a lot of times, you truly do not have to lift a finger. If you ever do feel like inspired to take action, that is also a thing. Like you may wake up one morning and feel very much an inspiration to do something this way instead of this way. And that is also your awareness, that is consciousness helping things unfold for you. So yeah, you do take steps, but it's not like the conscious you. It's not, I need to do X, Y, Z on top of that. No. Manifested SP contact after 11 years. There is a third party. I don't know where to start. Yeah, no, that is certainly a rough feeling. First thing that I would do is revise when you found out that, whatever was around you finding out about that, whether it was a conversation you two had or social media, like revise that, erase that. And when it comes to third parties, just like with anything that is unwanted and that is not ideal, to the best of our ability, we take our attention away from it. So do not feed that notion. Do not give that notion life. We put like whatever we give our focus and attention to, that is what ultimately helps us to move into that state. So, and I know it's easier said than done. When there's third parties, it seems like our mind does nothing but want to think about that and ruminate on that. But when you catch yourself, change focus and revise as many times as needed. You will move into a state where that is no longer a thing. Let me see, what kind of visual scene would you recommend for changing a limiting belief? Any suggestions? It really depends on the belief. It really depends on the belief. One of my favorite imaginal acts, my favorite ways of doing imaginal acts, like ever of all time, is imagining a conversation with somebody that confirms that desired outcome. So imagine that I'm talking to a friend or family member, and I hear the confirmation in that conversation of what I desire. So usually it's a congratulations, it's a, I'm so happy for you that you finally did X, Y, Z, whatever it looks like, or, Missy, you're so confident these days, you're so much more outgoing. How do you do it? What's your secret? Any sort of, anything that confirms that. And for me personally, what I found, and also for a lot of people, it feels more natural having a conversation to confirm that versus, maybe like a scene with our person directly or what have you. So yeah, that is one of my favorite ways to imagine. And you can do it with literally anything, which is the great part. You can do it for literally anything. So basically, at some point, I should take action and ask my SP out on a date, even if they're way out of my league. Number one, nothing is out of your league. You are God. Number two, you will be naturally moved to make any kind of action. If there is any action on your part that you need to take, you will be naturally moved to do so. It won't be from a place of like feeling forced or any sort of anxiety ridden. Yeah. It doesn't stem from a place of like I need to do something about this. Just Go to the end, imagine what it is that you want, continue to persist in that, and it must unfold. How you get there, like what that bridge looks like, we don't know. We just know that it will happen. I keep losing my spot. If we say, I am in the process of manifesting, wouldn't we be leaving the desired state of already having? There's so many different opinions about it, and I feel confused. Yeah, I know there's a lot of opinions about that. Um, so to say I am in the process of manifesting, or in other words, like I am becoming, or this is unfolding for me. Basically, how we want to approach this and how we want to view this is in imagination. In imagination, when you are imagining the desired end, you want to imagine it as if it's happening now, not that it's going to happen. We're not looking at something like it's going to take place in the future. That's daydreaming. We don't want to do that. We want to imagine in the present tense, and in the 3D as we're going about our day to day. It's knowing that what we imagine becomes our 3D reality, that the 3D follows, that signs follow what we imagine. So even if it's not in the 3D reality in this very moment, we know that because we have imagined it, it must come to pass. So we don't want to, for me and a lot of people, trying to talk ourselves into believing that the 3D is different in this moment when it's not, is going to feel very delusional. It's going to cause a lot of inner fighting. Because we have senses that tell us that that's not true. So I hope that makes a little bit more sense. When you're saying I am in the process of manifesting something, that's to say that once I imagine something, it must bear fruit. It must come to fruition. I keep losing my spot, you guys. I'm sorry. Missy, my soul wants to move to the United States so bad. Last October, I was placed as a teacher almost 500 kilometers away from home. Can I consider this birds before land? I mean, absolutely. Absolutely. But again, if it's not fully the end yet, don't accept it. Don't accept it as done. But is this movement in the right direction? Very much looks like it to me. So keep going. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Do not let any sort of intrusive thought or fear of this not working deter you. Keep persisting. Like you know that it's done. You live in the United States now. Welcome, by the way. America, you got this. On just being, like, just looking at the back of eyelids in the moment? Kinda, yeah. So for me, it is really just, like, almost shutting everything down. There's typically at first, there's gonna be, like, thoughts that wander in, your mind might try to wander off, just gently redirect and just it's hard to put it into words, but it's just not trying to do anything, and I'm just aware of my awareness. I'm aware that there is this awareness, and I'm just kind of keeping my attention there. That's it. What is the difference between flipping a thought and rejecting an opposing thought? They seem similar. Good question. One second. So the difference between flipping thoughts and rejecting an opposing thought. Yeah, they do seem similar, and in a way they are, but the biggest difference being flipping thoughts is when try to, uh, you know, if you have a negative thought, you try to replace it with a positive one. So if I have a thought that says, "Oh my God, you're so stupid. Why did you do that?" I would flip that thought by saying, "No, no, no. I'm super smart. I'm super this. I'm super that." Um, what that might do though is cause internal fighting. Like in general, flipping thoughts and trying to convince yourself that you're this positive thing instead of whatever negative intrusive thought can lead to infighting. So the way that I try to tell people to approach our thoughts is think of it like, think of two people in an argument, right? It can be back and forth all day long. You can try to tell yourself like, no, he loves me. He's like, this is happening. He loves me unconditionally. But that voice in the back of your mind is going to try to say, yeah, right. That's BS. He hasn't talked to you in months. And you can see how you get stuck flipping that same thought repeatedly. Rejecting a thought instead is like, okay, those two people fighting. Well, now one person is walking away from the fight. So you can't continue to fight with something when you walk away from it. So instead of engaging with that negative thought, which may actually help it to grow, we are not giving it the time of day, basically. Hope that makes a little bit more sense. How many desires do you actively work on, and how do you do you focus on the most important desire before sleep? I mean, you can if there's something that is prioritized for you, if you have a desire that feels most important to you, then yeah, you can absolutely put that one front and center or use that before bed. Um, how many desires do you actively work on? So in general, it can be as many as you like. I mean, whatever you have gotten clear on as to what you want to see manifest, like what you ideally want to see changed, you can work on as many or as little as you want. What I found to be easier, though, instead of having 10 different imaginal acts for 10 different desires, instead utilizing something like "Isn't it wonderful?" or the lullaby method, which is more of a general default state of satisfaction or gratitude, something that you would be feeling in that state where everything was kind of going your way. I made a video about that. If you haven't heard about lullaby, or also known as "Isn't it wonderful?" Definitely check out the video that I made about that for more clarity. Oh, you're welcome, Sylvia. Yay. I have a huge test in March. However, you may get put on a later month if there isn't enough spaces. I wish more study time. Should I imagine being put into a different month or revise my registration? Whichever one feels like it resonates more with you. If you feel like you need just a little bit more time, I would go with the former. Or if you feel like you need a lot more time, you can revise the registration entirely. But it's really whatever you feel is what you need most. What belief could be behind self-sabotage? What belief could be behind self-sabotage? I mean, how long is the length of string? It could be and again, if we're ever wondering why we're self-sabotaging or what it is that is sabotaging things, if we're ever unsure about why something happens out here that's unwanted, start paying close attention to what we're doing internally because very distinct connection between what's happening in here and in here and out there. So I couldn't tell you exactly what belief is sabotaging things for you, but you can absolutely find that through self-observation. How long do you need to hold the state until it becomes the dominant state? Until it feels natural to you, until it feels like your new home base. I couldn't tell you in dates and hours or weeks how long that is. That's gonna be different for everyone. But until we feel until it becomes a natural place of dwelling, until it's just a new yeah, it's our new default. Da, da, da. I do gotta get going, you guys, here shortly. I got time for maybe 1 or 2 more questions. What is your favorite manifestation experience? Any that have been so perfect it just made you laugh? Oh my god, my favorite? Oh. Oh, that's tough. I mean, probably I mean, my SP is one, naturally. I love him dearly. Uh, my favorite one, damn, that's hard. There's been a lot of incredible ones. I would say, I mean, definitely manifesting, admission into the Cannes Film Festival, which was freaking incredible, and the red carpet experience that came with it. I saw, I don't know if you guys remember, Fahrenheit 451 when it came out, the adaptation of the Ray Bradbury book. I was at the world premiere of that on the red carpet, with oh god, what's his name? There's Michael Shannon and, uh, Michael B. Jordan, I think, was in it? Yeah, both just an amazing cast of characters, like the whole Flashing Lights experience, so that was amazing. Um, it's hard to pick a favorite, honestly. There's been many that were just absolutely incredible. Uh, y Getting news that my sister was healed from cancer, that was a massive one. There's just been so many. There's been so many. That is a really good question, though. It's hard to narrow it down into just one. You guys are so great. Unfortunately, I do have to wrap this up. Damn it. If I could, I would be here all day, but still so much to do, so much to do, still unpacking to do. But I want to thank you guys again so much for being here. I hope I was able to help you guys answer some of those questions. Really, really awesome questions today. I know other people are going to find them very helpful as well. Yes, definitely got to give the story about how I manifested can is a video in and of itself. That was amazing. So I will make a note to do that. But you guys, I love you all so much. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you have an incredible rest of your weekend. Stay strong, stay faithful, and never forget how powerful you truly are. Damn it. Take care, you guys. Until next time.